Hola, how are you? I'm very happy to be here. It's been very exciting. I've always admired Korean cinema and befriended a few of the directors. Here, we're coming for the first time to Korea. I've been also very impressed with the beauty of the size of the festival and the power of the audience, and how cultured the audience is about world cinema. And I feel this is one of the great showcases of film in the world right now. So thank you for inviting me. I'm very happy to be here. Yeah. I'm very attracted to monsters because there's, I think there's a part of audiovisual storytelling that I find very oppressive, both in movies and commercials and TV. We see them full of handsome, happy, beautiful people using the other end and never being afraid. And I find that life is full of imperfection and full of pain and things that we don't discuss. And the monsters are almost like patron saints of imperfection. They allow us to make peace with the darker sides of humanity, and at the same time they are extraordinary in that they can be very symbolic. In our religion, whatever the religion is, you use angels and demons to understand the universe. And I'm very, very attracted to talking about sort of the other. Rather than the perfect, I'm attracted to the imperfect. I think they allow us that. They also are a perfect way to symbolize many things that can be social, religious, political, and they are a key element of fairy tale and fable, which are great ways to communicate ideas with an audience. Now they look very natural because I designed the entire film to accommodate those monsters. You know, when you buy a little lizard or a snake or a pet, you create a little aquarium with pebbles and plants, and then the animal can live in there. That's what I do with my movies. I make the movies have a certain style so that the creature can live in them and be part of the movie. I design the color, the shape, the forms of everything to accommodate those creatures. And I put enormous amount of design and thought into the biology of the creatures and so forth. And the third one was what? Yes. Oh, listen, I think Korea and Mexico have many things in common. We are very repressed, very drunken, and we are attracted to chaos. I like that very much. Because when we tackle a genre, we tackle it through the prism of our culture. I'm in awe of Director Bong and Director Park because they bring the chaos, the ridiculous, the sublime, the poetic, and the horrible all in the same movie. You know, Memories of Murder is not an American procedural about a crime. It's an existential, deep meditation and an imperfect investigation by imperfect police that themselves are corrupt. It's so beautiful to not have this Manichaean idea of good and evil that American cinema can do with a thriller. The host, his monster designs, Bong's monster designs are always great. We have great kinship, but he uses it to talk about the society of Korea and the family life of Korea. So he's talking about specifically the culture, which is what I do. When they say, what is Mexican about your movies? Me. I'm very Mexican. And my movies have that same slant. Now, Director Park for me is one of the most beautiful, desperate, existential romantics in cinema. It's very rare to find a romantic filmmaker. And by this I don't mean Fabio carrying a lady in his arms. I mean a man that believes in the doom, the gloom, the existential darkness of romanticism. And it's a twin soul in that sense. So I'm very attracted to their cinema because I see things that are not being done in any other cinema before. And the more you become familiar with Korean cinema, the more you see the instincts being very pure and very strong to defend a cultural stance in genre. There is a position about the genre they're tackling that doesn't make them commercial for an American market. They make them unique to Korea. This is what I feel. I'm extraordinarily in love with Korean cinema. Every time I want to feel a little more alive, I watch a Korean movie that I like. It can be, I Saw the Devil, or it can be Train to Busan, or it can be The Park Was Wrong, many others. Any movie that I watch is full of vigor. Yeah. Yes, I think that all my movies are linked together. I mean, Frankenstein and Pinocchio are two movies talking about the same feeling in different ways. A father creating a son that he doesn't understand, that he puts him out into the world and expects him to be what he wants, which is the great disappointment of a father, comes only with the unfair expectations of a father. So they're complementing. Kronos has the same ending than Pinocchio, the same ending than Frankenstein, which is a creature of unworldly appearance welcoming the sunlight for the first time at the end of the movie. The theme of immortality is in Kronos, and it's on Frankenstein, and it's on Blade, and it's on Hellboy. In many of my movies, I try to talk about the same things in different ways. What is different for me is absolutely the filter through my voice. All I can offer when I sing a song that has been sung before, I can offer my heart, my voice, and my soul to sing it back in a different way and make it new. One of the things, anecdotally, that is completely never been tackled is the approach on how the creature is created, the time it is created, what it means to Victor, who is trying to avenge the death of his mother. All those engines are new. The relationship with the characters are new. But we are tackling things thematically that were in the novel that have never been touched before. Some of them explicit, like the story of the creature, the second half of the movie, hasn't been tackled in this way before, ever. And on the first half, I think that the specter of war, which was part of the romantics in the 1800s, finally finds a way through the Crimean War in 1857 in the film. And the fact that it's made of parts of the bodies and becomes sort of a specter of war, aside from being a father and son story, which is also new. And Mary Shelley was a teenager, Protestant English. I am a 60-year-old Mexican Catholic. So there's a lot of Catholic in the movie, a lot of Catholic. I'm lapsed, but once a Catholic, always a Catholic. You never recuperate. The myths that are eternal for a reason. And the same way that I think we renewed Pinocchio through the eye of fascism and Mussolini, and being said the puppet is the only one that acts like a human. I think that all the elements that I related before to the gentleman's question make this movie completely different and completely new from the ones before, including the character of Elizabeth, which is a very modern character that brings us to the myth in a compassionate and modern way. Everything that is designed in my movies is telling a story. Some filmmakers use beauty as eye candy, meaning just pretty decoration. I use it as eye protein. I'm telling the story. And the way I design the creature, the way I design the costumes, the sets, everything coordinated, I don't see them as separate departments. They're a single thing. So I can talk to you very long. The design of the creature is designed to look like a newborn, not like a victim that has been patched in an emergency room. It looks like a newborn, almost soul of a human, translucent, perfectly designed with lines, because Victor is an artist. And we want to design it so it looks like a blank, like somebody that has nothing and is hurt and learns from pain. So we designed it, the designs of the lines in the head are designed after the diagrams of phrenology in the 1800s. The body is designed after a statue in alabaster that is in Rome, that's anatomically accurate, and so on and so forth. The costumes and the design, you know, one of the things Mary Shelley has in the title of the novel is the modern Prometheus. So we didn't want you to see a period movie all in pastel colors with soft light that you have seen hundreds of times. It's vibrant, full of color, full of steam and light, and very operatic. And the sets and the wardrobe are very operatic. We loomed the fabric for the costumes. We made that fabric. It didn't exist. And we made the fabric have patterns of butterfly wings, minerals, the body anatomical patterns of circulatory system. And so everything is telling the same story. If you see her shawl in the market is the wings of a butterfly. Then other pieces of wardrobe have x-rays of bones. You don't see it, now that I told you, you can see it. But there's x-rays of bones, circulatory systems. All that is work that we do for the movie to be expressive. The movie is full of circles and mirrors, because that's the structure of the film. Stars and names in the same place like a circle, and Victor and the creature reflect each other, blah, blah, blah. So everything visual is telling you something about the film. And that's the way we start. We started 9 months before the shoot, preparing the movie. And we prepared everything meticulously and then lived with it. Thank you. Yes, 100%. When somebody tells me what's the difference between you as a filmmaker at 30 and a filmmaker at 60, when you are 30, you talk. When you're 60, you listen. And you have to listen to the movie. When you prepare for 9 months and something goes wrong, it's a good thing. The movie's telling you what it wants to be. A dear friend of mine said that if the credits were correct in a film, it would say, a film by the film. The movie films itself, protects itself. I'll give you an example. First day of shoot with Jacob as the creature, we ordered lenses for his eyes that were bigger, like an animal-sized irises. One of them went in, the other one hurt. So he says, I cannot wear this one, but you can put it in CG. And I said, no, you're gonna have 2 eyes of different sizes. And then we used the big eye to reflect the light like an animal eye. And when he was angry, I would use that eye. And when he was peaceful, I would use the other. This came out of shooting that day. And we did that every day. Something would go wrong. And instead of me being angry, I would say, let's take a moment and see what we can do with that. That's the difference. And I think most directors, even the perfectionists, I think if you really know their work, you understand that they are courting the accident. They prepare very much to hope that something happens that makes the movie become alive, like Frankenstein.
Oh, yeah.
I think that the story for me is about forgiveness and imperfection. I think that we live in a time where we have polarized everything into completely good or completely bad. And there's no oxygen for humanity in those 2 sides. We all exist in the middle. At 9 a.m. you're a saint. At 11:30 you're an asshole. At 2 o'clock you're a martyr. At 2:30 you're a father. At 4:50 you're in a bad mood. Why not? Why should we not be imperfect? And why should we not forgive each other for not being perfect? That's what I want to tell with the movie. If you can understand any other human being a little better, you will listen more clearly. And as to the contact with the audience, I remember very clearly being an audience. So you should behave the way you would like to have been behaved when you were an audience. I tried to be very present. when I meet somebody, because I'm very solitary. Directors are in a cave writing and preparing, and then when you meet people, I enjoy it. You know, I have signed and talked to people that like the movies up to 5.5 hours in the past, and I like it. I really, really like it. So if you are tired, if you haven't eaten, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. That person will need you that one time. Yeah, and you should make it worth the wait. I think it's important, because that's why they call it show business, because you show up and do what is needed. Yes. I like Korean monsters. It's very hard to talk about Korean monsters without knowing all the mythology perfectly. But I'm very attracted because very much like in Mexico, we create creatures for everything in nature. And we believe everything has a soul and everything has a being behind, which I find very interesting. And I thank you for this beautiful book. I would love to produce, I would love to visit, I would love to help Korean cinema, and eventually, if I'm very crazy and very bold, I may try, but you need to talk about what you know very, very well. If you ask me, if you put me in an exam, I know Mary Shelley very, very, very well, and I know why I did this. If I didn't know it very well, I wouldn't try it. Pinocchio, I knew what I wanted to do, and I did it very, very convinced that I was honoring some part of what the myth has. So I would be interested, yes, will I be ever able to? I don't know. Thank you, and by the way, great questions. The answers are fucking long. It's not a question. We should have 10 more questions. Thank you, thank you. I think that a movie that you make, I mean, for people watching a movie is a filmography. For you making it is a biography. What do I mean by that? Most directors are good at making movies because they are terrible at everything else. We are not great family men, we're not great friends, we're not great this. You know, we are specialized creatures that do one thing okay, but you are missing life. The nature of choice, choosing, people think is taking one thing. Choosing is not taking anything else. So you're missing, when you're dancing, you're not skiing. When you're skiing, you're not singing. When you're singing, you're not sleeping. So we choose to make movies and ignore life. So if we're gonna do that, the movies have to be painfully important for you. I think that's the most important thing about making a movie, that you are missing life because you love this movie so much and you want to share it with the world. And I think that is what makes movies worth making and worth watching.
수고하셨습니다. 이상으로 기자회견 마치겠습니다.